let's open up our BP light switch and let's create a static mesh for our switch. And this will be named body because we will have body and we will have switch that will move up and down realistically. And the model that we want to use here is our body from the light switch. And it looks just like that. So let's add another static mesh because here are slots for the screws that we need. So let's add a screw 1 and let's duplicate this static mesh and let's rename this screw 2. This will be screw 1 and the screw 2 will have the screw 2 model. So now we have these two screws. And the last thing that we need to add is another static mesh. And this will be the actual switch. So if we'll just search for switch, we have this one, not this one. This is the one without texture, this one. Okay, here we have this switch. And we will rotate it whenever we interact with the light switch. So let's add a BPI interaction. So go to class settings, interfaces, add BPI interaction interface, and let's override this on interact function. We can delete all of this. So here I want to create a new variable called is working. We need to make sure that this light switch is working because later in the game when we finish the entire page collecting system, if we will enter this house, I want to play another jump scare where we will just destroy the lamp, it will just break, and then the light switch will stop working. So we need to create a variable is working just to make sure that the light switch is working whenever we want to use it. So we will create a branch and we are checking if it's working. And by default, we can set it to true. So it is working by default. So if is working is true, we will do some stuff. We will create a sequence. But if it's not working, we will add a flip flop so that we will just toggle the light switch up and down and we will play the sound effect, but it will not do anything. It won't change the light. So let's set up the flip flop first. This is a start position of the light switch and we will just move it a little bit and rotate it so this thing is facing up. So we can just grab this switch mesh and we can set relative transform. So in this transform, we can change rotation and location and also scale, but we won't use that. Let's plug this to A, move it a little bit higher. We will also set the transform to B. So as for the first time, we will just make transform and we will hard code a value here. So as for the location, it'll be -5. Here it will be 4. And as for the rotation, it'll be 60 on the X. And the scale it will be the same. And it gives us an error because there is nothing plugged into the transform for the B. So what we can do is we can just split it, and now if we will compile, it will be okay because we want to set it back to 0 when we interact with the switch for the second time. We want it to go back to the previous position. So after changing the switch location and rotation, we can just play sound at location, duplicate it, plug it here. So this is light off and this is light on. And the location is location of this switch mesh. So let's just get world location. As simple as that. Now we can actually test this. So let's go to level game. And I want to get this switch and place it right here. And just for testing purposes, we can just make this is working as a false. So let's just right click, play from here. Now if we interact with this, you can see the switch goes up and down just like that, and the sound is playing. We can just move it slightly out of the wall. It will look a little bit better, I think. And the switch won't clip through the wall. Yeah, so this is looking great. Now let's write the actual functionality for the light switch, because now we can just toggle it off and on, but it's not doing anything. So first of all, let's make sure it is working as true by default. And now we need to know which lights we want to toggle. So we will create a variable for that. This will be lights to toggle. And now we need to make this variable as a light, and also it'll be an array, so we can store multiple values in one variable, because we might have more than one light that we want to switch on or off with one single switch. So that's why we need to make this an array, and this will be instance editable. So now what we can do is we can go back to level and we can add a light to our scene. So let's search for spotlight. Click here, lights, and we have this spotlight. We will use a spotlight, and somehow it's under the map. Let's move it a little bit higher, but what we can do is just copy location of this and paste it right here. So it is on the same location as the lamp. Now we can just move it a little bit lower. And now we can just tweak some values. So first of all, I want the intensity to go up to 10. As for the light color, we can make it a little bit yellowish, so it's a little bit more realistic. As for the outer cone, we can go something like 60, so it will light up the entire room. And we can also add a inner cone with a value like 15. Now if we will play from here, this is how the light will work, and I think this looks pretty cool. This light material on the lamp is not working yet, but we will create a logic for that in a second. And now if we click on the light switch here on the details panel, because we did the lights variable as a instance editable, we can see it right here, lights to toggle. We can click this plus icon, and now we can just click this little pick actor from scene, and we can target our spotlight that we've just created here. So this spotlight is assigned directly to this switch right here. So now let's go back to event graph here, and we will just grab these lights to toggle, and we will do for each loop. So we will do a logic for every single light that we assign to this array. We want to toggle the light, so we need to know if the light is turned on or turned off. So we can just grab this array element, get light component, and here we can see if it is visible. Is visible. And now we can do a branch. Connect this to loop body. So we can create another variable called is light on question mark, because this will be just a single boolean. Compile, and when this is visible and we interact with this, we want to set the is light on to false, and when this light is not visible, we want to set it to true. From here we can get this light component. We will need that in a second, so let's just grab from here and set visibility, connect this here, duplicate it, connect this to the false as well. Now let's just do a reroute node quickly to make things more clean, connect it to target as well. But before doing that, actually, we need to also play the sound at location. So we will grab a switch, get world location, and play sound at location, because we are playing this sound only when the light is not working. Now we need to do the same thing when the light is actually working. So let's connect everything. Let's move this down. Here it'll be light off, not flashlight, just a regular light off, light off, and light on, light on. Yep, this one. Here we are setting the visibility of the actual light. And finally, we need to do the same thing as we did here. So let's copy this, move it here. But we need to switch this, because here we are turning the light off. So we need to just change the set location, set transform. Okay, compile, save. So now we are doing the same thing as we're doing here, except that we are also changing the actual light visibility. So let's see how this actually works. Let's just play from here. Now this light is turned on, but when I interact with this, you can see the light switches off. Okay, something's not working correctly, because I forgot to check this new visibility to true. So when we toggle the lights on, it actually sets the visibility to true. Let's test it now. Turned off and turned on, turned off and turned on. Everything is working fine. But there's also one thing that's missing, and this is the light material. So let's see how we can work with that. First of all, we need a reference to lamp blueprints that we want to toggle the material on. So let's create a new variable called lamps, lamp BPs, and this will be BP lamp object reference, but it will be array as well, because we might have more than one lamp to toggle. So here on the sequence, we can create another for each loop, but this time it will be our lamp BPs. So from these lamp BPs, first of all, we can make sure that the light switch is working. So grab this guy right here. And from this light, we can get two variables. The first one will be lamp mesh, which is just the skeletal mesh that we've set up here. We want to grab this, and we can set material. But now, as you can see, this asks for element index. So that's why we have set up this light slot material. So now we can reference the exact slot where we want to change the material. In this case, it is 1. So let's get the get material light material slot. And let's plug this into element index. And as for the material, we can just do a select, and we will select based on the variable is light on. Here we will set it to light on, and here it'll be light off. Oh, I forgot to do the most important thing. That is, we need to make this lamp BP's instance editable. Go back to level game. First of all, by default, this lamp visibility should be not true. And the light switch, we have this lamp BPs now, where we can add one, and this will be just our BP lamp. So let's see if this will work now. Let's play from here. Everything's turned off. We can't see the lights and we can see the material. But now when I enable this, you can see we can see the light that we're toggling, but we can also see that material has changed. And now this lamp actually looks like it's turned on. That's exactly what we needed. And now this entire lamp and switch system is completed.